everyone. We're gonna go over those other related problems in our systems of equations unit. So this problem should look familiar. We went over this problem in class, but I'll go ahead and read it one more time. Acme Athletics purchases shoes for a supply company. In January, the store bought 30 pairs of running shoes and 10 pairs of basketball shoes for $3,700. In March, they bought 15 pairs of running shoes and 20 pairs of basketball shoes for $3,575. The supply company kept their prices constant. So when we went over this in class, we used some annotation protocols to highlight the most important information. So we used the cup method, in which we circled our quantities along with its units. So remember that it is important to not just circle 30 and 10, but circle 30 pairs of running shoes and 10 pairs of running shoes, because that lets us know what those numbers represent. We had also circled 3,700 as our total, and we underlined January because all those numbers related to the month of January. We did something similar for March, so we underlined March, then we circled 15 pairs of running shoes and 20 pairs of basketball shoes and 3,575. Keep in mind that I'm using colors strategically, red for January, blue for March. Then at the bottom of the question, we underline X represents let me use a different color for that. X represents the cost of one pair of running shoes and Y represents the cost of one pair of basketball shoes. And then we boxed our task, which is to write a system of equations. Okay, so we did this part in class, keeping in mind that we always start by identifying what each variable represents. The question sometimes gives you what it represents, like it did in this case, but sometimes it won't. In this case, it did let us know that X represents the cost of running shoes and Y represents the cost of basketball shoes. So we simply summarized that here. Then we made use of our annotation and that summary of the variables to create our two equations. 30x plus 10y equals 3,700 because in March, the company bought 30 running shoes, 30x, and 10 basketball shoes, 10y, and they had a total of 3,700. Then in March, they bought 15 pairs of running shoes, 15x, 20 pairs of basketball shoes, 20y, and their total was 3,575. Keep in mind that you get points for doing these equations accurately. Then the question is sometimes going to ask us some follow-up questions related to the equations that you created. In this case, the follow-up question was, Jacob says that a pair of running shoes cost the store $80 each, and a pair of basketball shoes cost the store $130 each. Is he correct? So this is Jacob's claim. We don't know if he's right or wrong, and that's what we kind of have to figure out. So first, let's annotate this part of the problem. Jacob is claiming that the running shoes cost $80. I'm going to underline running shoes and circle 80. And right on top of running shoes, I'm going to put X because we had already said that X represents running shoes. Then it says a pair of basketball shoes cost $130. That's what he's claiming. So I'm going to underline basketball shoes. I'm going to put a Y over that because we have said that basketball shoes is represented by Y. And I'm going to circle $130. To test out if he is correct or not, we have to substitute these numbers into our equations, both of them. Okay, so we're going to start with the first equation, which is 30x plus 10y equals 3,700. And I'm just going to substitute the x with what Jacob is claiming x is equal to, which is 80, and I'm gonna substitute the y with what Jacob is claiming y is equal to, which is 130. And just remember, whenever we substitute variables with numbers, we use parentheses. So we have 30 parentheses 80, because that's what he's claiming x is being substituted with, plus 10 parentheses 130 equals 3,700. Okay, and now we're gonna plug this into our calculator exactly like we see it. I'm gonna do that off camera, but you just grab your calculator and you type in 30 parentheses 80, close your parentheses, plus 10 parentheses 130, close your parentheses. And we get 3,700 equals 3,700. And this is right? So the totals equal each other. So far it looks like Jacob is correct. But in a system, we have two equations. You tried out the first one, and now you have to try out the second one. So we're going to do the same process with the second equation. 15x plus 20y equals 3,575. And again, we're going to substitute the x with what Jacob said x is equal to, which is 80. So 15 parentheses 80 plus 20 parentheses 130 equals 3,575. And then we type this part into the calculator exactly as we see it. So I'm going to do that now. 15 parentheses 80, close your parentheses, plus 20 parentheses 130, close your parentheses. And in this case, we get 3,800 equals 3,575. As we see, these two numbers do not equal each other. So we will say Jacob is not correct.